Hello, everyone, and welcome to the All Things Family Show. Thank you for joining me and my co-host, Leonora Rhodes. The All Things Family Show is a weekly show where we provide families discussions on topics like self-care, communication, stress, sometimes parenting skills as well. And today we're going to discuss a really important topic, which will be self-care. Please, during the show, comment on the side, ask some questions. We will have Unlock the Seat a little bit later in the show. Like, share, comment, retweet throughout the show. We would really appreciate it. Thank you. All right, Leonora. So today, self-care. What do you think?
Well, I think self-care is extremely important. I went through a long stage in my life where I neglected myself quite badly, and it's a really, really common story for both mothers and fathers to go through periods where family life seems to be so complicated and the demands on our time and energy and attention are so great that the one thing that is often at the bottom of the to-do list is to look after ourselves. And this is kind of fine for a really short period of time when it's very necessary. But if you continue with it for a long period of time, it's not a matter of if, but when you're going to crash and burn. And I have worked with many parents who've got to that stage where the self-neglect has gone on for so long that they end up making themselves either mentally or physically very ill, or really seriously damaging a relationship. And so self-care is something that I believe that we need to be including in our daily routine. It's really essential.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I definitely agree. Somewhere along the lines when my husband and I began our family, I forgot that I was included in the family. I seem to have wanted to pick up and take care of everything and kind of create a balance, but not realizing if I didn't care for myself, there wouldn't be any balance.
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think it kind of begins slowly without us really noticing.
Mm-hmm.
And often it occurs at a time of a stressful event going on. So kids are sick, or you move maybe, and and that's fine. That's fine for that to happen when things are really tough like that. But you really mustn't make that a habit. And as I say, that building self-care on a daily basis is essential.
Yes.
So, and I think it's worse today than it maybe was for our parents' generation. I'm not making excuses for modern parents, but I think there are just so much more demands on our time and energy than there used to be. And, unfortunately, the internet world has a lot to blame for that, because we're kind of on 24/7, and even when we sleep, people are still answering their text messages while they sleep and things like that. We really need periods of rest and relaxation and self-care during the day.
Yes, it's adapting the discipline to shutting it off, to walking away and taking your mind with you. So it's
Absolutely.
not expecting a call or wondering what's happening, kind of refreshing your mind as well.
Yeah, this will make you all laugh. So the reason I was a little bit late today is I've just been to a retreat, just an overnight retreat with a really good friend who we've both been going through some stressful times. And so we decided to treat ourselves, and we had this lovely retreat. So at 9 o'clock this morning, Eastern time, I was having a massage. And my brain was all over the place. I was just like, I was thinking about college, and I was thinking about family in England. And I kept saying to myself, focus on the massage. And we'll come back to it just for a moment. And then I drift back to, thinking about all this stuff. And it's very, very hard to switch off sometimes. And I think, that's a problem. Another problem of modern parenthood is very much a lack of presence. And we have to be really careful of that, because our children notice it. It's better to have shorter periods of time with our children that are more intensely focused and more present than long periods of time where you don't even pay, where you don't pay much attention to them. I remember one day when my kids were little, they're both teenagers now, so life's changed a bit, but there was one day I was doing the washing up and I was kind of looking at the sink and I was talking to my two children, and they were asking for things and they kept coming in to see me. And I thought, I haven't even looked at them. So I kind of stopped what I was doing and I got down to their level. They were pretty small. And I kind of took them by the hands and actually listened to them and paid attention, because what they were asking for wasn't really what they were asking for. What they really wanted was my focus. And that was why they kept coming back and bothering me, because I wasn't giving them what they were really asking for. And if you're not paying attention, you'll miss that. You'll miss those subtle cues that actually it's your attention, or it's a cuddle, or, I just want to have a complaint for a minute. And I think, when you're not paying attention, you want to solve problems. So it's like, okay, have a cookie, or, whatever, go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
Whereas, that's really not what they're asking for. Does that make sense?
Yes, that does. That makes a lot of sense. I've had to learn to retrain myself to listen with my eyes. Yes. Because I would do the same thing. I'd be doing laundry. I'd be putting dishes away, or, signing off on homework and not really paying attention to that they missed the entire question. That kind of thing. Absolutely. So I've had to retrain myself to listen with my eyes. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I think when you're not looking after yourself, as you know, Crystal, and some of the audience may know, I'm a real neuroscience geek. And so, when you neglect yourself for long periods of time, what happens is that your brain and your mind stop functioning as they're supposed to. And you end up with stress, you end up with health problems, with physical and mental health problems, and with relationship problems. And also, it really affects your creativity, and it affects your ability to be efficient, whether it's even doing the housework, or whether it's, if you work, it's a work project. If you're neglecting yourself for long periods of time, it's going to affect everything. It's not just one thing. And so I think, I think when we know that how important it is, it's a first step towards saying, I need to make this a priority in my life and do it daily.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a treat. It really is necessary.
Yeah. And I think that's kind of where we as parents have gotten backwards, that it's viewed as a treat. And then, once you take that treat, it's guilt filled. Yeah. Filled with this guilt for being away and taking this time out for themselves. Yeah, for ourselves, for myself.
Yeah, absolutely. And I myself use the word treat, but it's really, self-care is not a treat. You can build some treats into it, but it really is incredibly essential. And I think what happens with parents today, I think with everybody today, but particularly with parents, we kind of stop paying attention to our own energy levels. And our children pick up on that subtly. And I used to work with a lot of special needs kids, and some of them were nonverbal. They couldn't even speak, and they would be picking up on their parents' energy, and the parents weren't really aware of it because they were so stressed and so distracted by what was going on, and kind of feeling, that life was difficult, and they were really unaware of the impact that it was having on their children, because their child couldn't tell them. It's fine if your child can say, Mummy, come and have a sit down and a cuddle. You seem stressed. But if they're not able to say that, it will come out in another way, and it usually comes out in a behavior. And so, sometimes if your child is behaving badly, and not even just special needs kids, all kids, you have to ask yourself the question, what's happening with our energy here? There's clearly something that's out of balance with that whole energy thing between you.
Yes, very true. And sometimes I try not to get so overwhelmed with knowing I have an audience. I have 3 children who watch everything I do. And I do. Sometimes I do get overwhelmed with knowing that I've got to be that role model at all times.
It is.
Yeah.
It can feel like a really big burden. And I think the important thing to know about that is your children actually also, your children need to see you doing things right, but they also need to see you doing things wrong.
Yes.
And when you do something wrong, you need to be humble and you need to tell them that it was wrong and why it was wrong. And I think, we mentioned last week that we learn more from our failures than we do our successes. And, our children need to see that we mess up sometimes and that it's okay and that we will bounce back and that we understand that we made a mistake and that we will try and learn from it next time. And I really think it's one of the most valuable lessons we can teach our children. I've worked with adults who said, well, my mother was so perfect. It's like, she wasn't. Nobody is.
They hit it well.
Yeah, exactly. and that's not a healthy thing to think, because we're all human and we all mess up.
Yeah, we are. And I think, oops, I'm not sure what I did here. I pushed something. I'm sorry, guys.
Too many buttons.
Too many. Something new. Something new. Yes. Yeah. So, what are some things that some examples, maybe some things that you do that you could give for self-care?
Yeah. Well, I think self-care is an extremely personal thing. And I think you have to kind of build your own self-care toolkit. So what I suggest when I work with people is that it may sound like a funny idea. I tell them to get a Postit note every day and write on it 3 things they're going to do for themselves that day. And it needs to be one thing for physical health, one thing for their mental health, and the third thing is to make them feel like they're making progress in their life. And so people try and cheat and then say, can I do something that does all 3? And I say, well, you can, but you have to spend more time doing it. Because I think we need at least 15 minutes a day for self-care, even if you're very busy and you have, you work and you have children and life's crazy busy. The time that you spend on self-care is not wasted time. It's time that will make you more efficient for the rest of that day and the days to come. So I would recommend at least 15 minutes a day for these 3 things. And if you're combining 2, then it's 10 minutes for that thing. So for example, if it was, going for a walk or a run is really good for my mental health, that could be health and mental health, but it needs to be longer. That makes sense. And the progress piece is really important. And I think mothers feel this, stay-at-home moms feel this most of all. They feel that they are not making progress in their lives, that, they end the day feeling that they really haven't accomplished very much. They may have done the washing up, the laundry, kept the house tidy, but you turn around and it's just as messy as it started, and that can feel really unfulfilling. So I think it's very, very important to feel that you're making progress in some way in your life, even if it's just a really small project like tidying a drawer in your kitchen, or reading a self-help book, something like that. It's really important to doing those small things that make you feel like you're moving forward. So that would be kind of, that would be the structure that I would give. And it's really unique to the individual. Nobody can tell you what will do those things for you.
No.
How about you, Crystal? What techniques do you use?
Yeah, well, real quick, I just want to say, to those individuals that are joining us, thank you. We're discussing the importance of self-care. Please comment, ask some questions on the side if you'd like, retweet, share, send some information through. We will unlock the seat a little bit later today, but for right now, we're just having our discussion. Thanks for joining us. Some of the things that I really do like that you said, the Post-it note with the 3 priorities. That's really neat, because you can get caught up in your day, and if you put the Post-it note up somewhere like where you're mainly at, or even on the fridge, because everybody eats, right? You remind yourself. Some of the things that I like to do is I really enjoy running. I'm not a very fast runner. Sometimes I walk, but I just like to be out in nature. I love to see the beauty. I like to see the trees turning green. You know, even in the cold, where we used to live, it was 20-degree weather. It didn't have a wind chill, but it was just so relaxing, relieving to be out and to breathe in that cold air. It's just, it changes something. Yeah, so that really helps. Another thing that my sister-in-laws and I do is we each commit to reading a book, either listening to the audio while we're doing laundry or washing dishes kind of thing. And then we get together and we go watch the movie at the theater.
Oh, cool.
And then we go out after for appetizers and we discuss the difference between the movie and the book. Yeah. And it's wonderful to, you know, have that friendship, to connect with others, but also to talk about something other than being a parent or the struggles that the parent, you know, I go through sometimes as a parent, because then it just kind of like that, it separates it, and it helps me to calm down and just come back to myself.
I agree. Yeah. That's a great idea. And I think you're right. I have to say, when my kids were young, my husband used to stop me every now and again when we would go out for dinner with friends, or have friends round, or just, you know, meet up for coffee or whatever, that I was just talking about the children all the time. And this is something that parents can get really caught up in. And it's really important that we kind of keep the conversation to other things as well. We can get a little bit tiring and boring if all we talk about is our kids. And there's so much more to life. Yeah. I love your idea of going to the movies with your friends. That's so good for you. It helps you feel like
it's really good. Yeah.
Yeah. And the social relationships are really important. And you know, I think as a parent, you particularly as a mother, I think you end up with most of your friends being parents. But it's really healthy to have some friends that are not parents as well, just to give you a different perspective. Yeah, very true. A different perspective, and also, not feeling guilty. That's something that I can easily fall into a trap of. Is feeling guilty. So when I take time out for myself and I do self-care, of course, you know, I kind of embrace it. I say, okay, I'm allowing myself 60 seconds to feel guilty. Just write it all out. and then I kind of relieve myself and break myself from it, and then I'm able to move forward and just enjoy my time. Yeah, that's a great idea. Yeah, I did a workshop yesterday about habits, and we were talking about that idea of, you know, we all have negative thoughts of guilt and things like that. And when you kind of notice that pattern in yourself, a really good way to deal with it is to splurge on complaining. So to have 5 minutes in the day when you get all of the complaining out of the way, and then you can return to the positive side and kind of say, I'm done with complaining now, and now I'm just going to get on with my day and enjoying life a little bit more. And it kind of needs to come out. The complaining and feeling bad about yourself needs to come out, because otherwise it will fester. But, you know, get it out there and then be done with it for the rest of the day.
Yes. So, yeah. Yes. I realized that once I started doing that, I felt a lot better, and I didn't ruin my whole time. So, yeah.
It's very easy to get caught up in the negative thinking and stuck in it. And something else I was going to say, which kind of relates to some work that Crystal and I have both done. We've prepared some free gifts on the website that are about time management. And I did a survey before we started this on what parents want in life, want what they want more of. And the thing that came up time and time again was they wanted more time, either more time for themselves or more family time or just more quality time. And so when you become more efficient with your time management, you free up more time for that self-care piece. And, you know, you can make yourself busy all day with stuff and then not ever get around to the self-care. But if you get more efficient and if you use some time management techniques to, you know, to speed up those important things and get them done quicker, then you will find you've got more time to spend on yourself. So that's another thing that it's important to think about. If you're saying that you really don't have 15 minutes a day for yourself, then you're not efficient enough.
Yes.
Because there are people who have incredibly busy jobs, they have a family, and they still manage to find time to look after themselves. It's all about priorities.
Yes, yes, it is. It's all about priorities. And plus, it's also being that example for your children. So when they grow up as adults, they have that guidance.
Yes, absolutely.
Of knowing how to prioritize your day.
Yeah. And I think they also, our children also need to know, you know, there's a lot of pressure on kids today, especially as they head into high school and beyond. I think kids are kind of having less fun today than we maybe did when we were teenagers. And I have worked with teenagers who say, they claim that they have 6 hours of homework a night. And I'm like, really, let's unpick this and look at how you're spending your time. And they are being so inefficient and they're being so distracted. They're never really focusing on one thing at a time. And, you know, when I work with those kids who often come to see me because they're burnt out and they're kind of in a crisis situation, you know, I say to them, it's really important that you clear some space to get those important things done. And then you set aside some time to enjoy yourself and to relax. And, you know, we as parents need to teach them that. It doesn't come intuitively to them. So it does with some kids. There are some teenagers who take the whole self-care and relaxation a little bit too seriously. Don't get the work done, but, you know.
Yes. Yes, it does.
So, Crystal, do you have any other insights into self-care? Anything else that?
Let's see. We discussed priority. We discussed Post-it Note with 3 things.
Yeah.
Really. Oh, and we discussed embracing guilt. So that is a good thing. No, I'd really just say, just start. Just have one, even if it's 5. If you start out with 5 minutes, okay, I'm going to take self-care for 5 minutes today. And if it's guilt-filled that whole entire time, embrace it and say, I'm taking 5 minutes. I did it yesterday. Maybe I'll do 10 minutes tomorrow. And then just keep building until you figure out, you know, what your hobby is. Sometimes people like to, you know, really embrace into a hobby of a garden or golfing. Something fun like that as well. But some people don't really have that time. So saying no less than 15 minutes is, if this is what I'm going to do, I'm going to commit to myself because I love myself. And kind of start and take each moment and each minute as it comes and as it goes, and then just keep continuing and growing and patting yourself on the back for embracing it and keep going. That's me.
And I think another important piece is accountability. Sometimes we need somebody else kind of in the game with us. For example, my friend who I just went to retreat with, I mean, we were away for 20 hours, you know, it wasn't a kind of weekend or anything. But we both check in with each other, and we always say to each other, what are you doing for yourself? Because we're both busy and we have businesses and we have kids and, you know, we have homes to run. And sometimes when we say that to each other, you kind of realize, I haven't actually done anything for a few days and I really need to. So having somebody to keep you accountable, to just nag you every now and again and kind of say, you know, what have you been doing? And sometimes the other person can inspire you. They said, I was having a really stressful day, so I went for a run, or I took a walk, or I did some meditation. Sometimes the other person can give you some ideas. So, you know, if you're struggling to find time for self-care, find a buddy to help you with it. That makes it so much easier.
Yeah. Yes. Well, thank you for joining us today. We are discussing self-care. I did unlock the seat below, so if an individual would like to join in, please call in.
One other thing that just came to mind while we were talking then, I think mindfulness practice is a really important thing to include in self-care. And mindfulness is really anything that helps you connect with how your body and mind are feeling, and then learning to take some control of it. So, you know, it might be meditation, or it might be yoga or Tai Chi or something like that. Or it may be, I have a male friend, a father who has a very busy life, and his thing for stress management is going for a ride on his motorbike. I have a client. Oh, yes. I have a client that I'm working with at the minute, and for her, it's decluttering. When she's feeling really, really stressed, the most relaxing thing that she can do is tidying up. And for me, that's stressful, but for her, that kind of gets her, you know, stopping worrying about things. And for that time, she's kind of in that mindful state. Who would think that tidying up could be a mindfulness practice?
And now that you say that, my daughter's mindfulness practice is washing dishes. She turns it into a game. She plays. The dishes each have their own lifestyle. She talks to them. It's just the most interesting thing to sit and watch her. Yeah. So yeah, I'm glad you say that, because I know a lot of things that I see within my life are within my surroundings is mindfulness, is yoga, or sitting down and spending 5 quiet, meditation.
Yeah.
5 minutes, 15 minutes of meditation that sometimes turns into an hour here and there. But I tried it, and I got really down on myself, because I thought at first that was the only way to relieve my mind. Yeah. So I was really, I guess you could say, detached in a way, because I thought that was the only way, and I couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it. Yeah. And then, after talking with a few friends and such, and realizing that, decluttering, washing dishes, running, I like to run, and just embracing in something that I personally enjoy is healthy and a mind practice.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, other things that you can include as mindfulness practice is sometimes going for a walk or going for a bike ride, but being very mindful while you do it. So, if you go for a walk outside, say to yourself, I'm going to find 5 things that are really beautiful while I'm on this walk. And I'm going to stop and notice them. Because often we take a walk and we're not really paying attention. If you're paying attention to your environment, you're not paying attention to your inner chatter, which is often negative or worrying about something, or, remembering I need to make that phone call. So, if you can kind of say, I'm going to look for an interesting tree on this walk, or, something like that, then it keeps your mind from getting caught up in that type of thinking. It's a really interesting thing to do.
I agree. I remember one time looking at this huge tree. It's probably 100 years old. And the bark on it is very thick, and it's got all these different leaves and patterns. And I was just lost into the tree, just kind of looking at it like this. I caught myself realizing, everybody around me probably thinks I'm weird, but it was just so interesting.
And we need to zone out sometimes. We need to get in that state where, we are not really noticing where the time's going. It's just, what was I doing for 5 minutes? That is actually a really healthy thing to do. And it can even be watching television. People discourage that kind of thing, but sometimes watching a really trashy TV show is just what you need.
Yes, to pull your thoughts away from what you were doing. Yes. Yes, I agree. Or I remember a friend of mine who is really into writing. She loves to write. She kind of had a mind block or writer's block.
Yes.
And so what happened was she decided, okay, I'm just going to put my book away and I'm going to go find something of interest. And so she kind of went on about her day with emails and sending letters and paying bills and, the things we do.
Yeah.
A couple of weeks go by and she ends up at Lowe's. Well, they're selling a bunch of different type of plants for the theme of that week. So she decided, okay, I'm going to embrace this. So she created this beautiful garden with a bunch of different flowers. And the next thing you know, without realizing it, she fully embraced that and started studying things on plants, doing research on sunlight, which then turned into a book. She wrote a book about it. It was a novel.
Yeah.
And I just thought, that is neat. Even when you weren't thinking about it and you kind of gave up on it, creativity still found her either way.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There's a great book on creativity that I just read called Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert, who wrote Eat, Pray, Love. And, she talks about, sometimes we're in a bit of a creative black spot and nothing's kind of working. And we, I work with a lot of people and I can say to them, what are you passionate about? What do you love doing? And they don't know. And sometimes you've got to try a few different things. And sometimes you can find that creative outlet in the most unexpected places. But you've got to be curious about it. You've got to go out and try things because you just never know what it's going to be for you. A couple of years ago, I tried kayaking and I'd never done it before. And I love it. It's one of my favorite activities now. And, I might have been scared to try it, but I kind of pushed myself. And now I love it. And I drive my family crazy because whenever we go on vacation, I'm like, can we go kayaking? So, I would never have put myself down as a kayaker. I really wouldn't. But it's a real treat to myself and I feel great when I do it. So, try new things. You just never know where you're going to find inspiration. So I guess to kind of round up the show, we mentioned earlier that Crystal and I have prepared a special gift for our followers on All Things Family. And Crystal's designed this amazing planner, which is a daily planner, but it's a weekly planner. There's different activities for each day. And it's really, really useful for getting those important tasks done every day. And so I would thoroughly urge you to download that. And I have written a mini ebook on time management, which is gives you lots of tips to get you started if you're struggling with time management, because it seems to be one of the most common problems that parents struggle with, just finding a little bit more time for self-care and for their family and me time. So that's all on, go on over to the website, which is allthingsfamilyshow.com. There's a lot of great freebies on there. So we really hope you enjoyed the show today. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe. And All Things Family is going to be a weekly show. So if you have any questions, any ideas, please get in touch with us. And thank you to my great co-host, Crystal. It's been fun talking to you today.
Yes, I've enjoyed it. I love these chats. Yeah, thank you for joining us.
Bye for now. Have a good weekend.
Bye.